A very good evening to everyone attending and welcome to the webinar on electric vehicles. Please stay connected and we'll start in the next 2 minutes.
Welcome to the webinar on electric vehicles. Electric vehicles are going to be the next big thing. OEMs, startups, and governments have committed their part in this new journey of electric vehicles. But there is a huge gap between demand and supply of skilled labor in this industry. We at Rosefield Energy Tech have embarked on an ambitious journey to fill this gap. We have various initiatives like Rosefield trainings, webinars, workshops, events, conclaves, and many more coming soon on electric vehicles. I am sure this webinar is also just the beginning of your journey in electric vehicles. If you have not yet joined the WhatsApp group, there is a link below the video. Please join and share your thoughts. Please click on the link and join the WhatsApp group. We have some interesting announcements coming soon on WhatsApp. I would now like to introduce our first speaker, Shailendra Gokhale. Shailendra Gokhale is the founder and director of Rosefield Energy Tech and also managing partner at Rosefield DA International. He is a highly experienced energy professional with broad international experience. He is also a well known speaker at international conferences. I now invite Shailendra for setting the context and give us few insights into the world of electric vehicles.
Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning, everyone. I understand that there are participants not just from India, but also from USA, Canada, Europe, Middle East, Africa, and Asia Pacific. Such a fantastic response coming from thousands of you participants also go to show that EV is going to be next big thing. And would like to express my sincere thanks to all of you. We will try to cover as many aspects as possible in the webinar today. So our webinar is structured in three parts. So first part, I will give you a context that why EVs are going to be critical for the world. Then the second part, we will be talking about EVs, why they are critical for India. And then we will get into a conversation with our key expert from the electric vehicle industry, Mr. Suhar Joshi. But before coming into that, let me just set a context. Is that why we are talking, why world is talking about electric vehicles, why in India, probably over the last 4 to 6 months, we have been seeing a lot of action in the media, a lot of announcements are coming in terms of investment, and we need to understand that why we are all talking about electric vehicles. So globally, if you really see in last 15 months, we have seen huge disasters, and while we say that they are natural disasters, they are all coming because of man-made global warming. So global warming, it has its own effects. So whether we are talking about bushfire in Australia last year, or we are talking about hurricanes in USA, windstorms in Europe, very recent floods, and even the cyclones in India, earthquakes in various parts where they have never seen earthquakes, and also as you would have seen that the Texas winter storm. So these are all affecting all of us. And I would also say that it is manifesting into not just rising sea level or melting of ice or having impact on environment, but the effect can be seen on food security. So the moment we start seeing the change in taste of our mangoes, probably we will realize that, wow, this is the effect. And we obviously do not want to get into that. And it is very important for us not to just think about impact on the environment for our generation, but our next couple of generations, because they are going to bear the brunt of the misuse of the natural resources, what we are doing, or the way we have treated the environment. So against that backdrop, obviously why we are talking about global warming means, the leaders across the world, transportation, minimize
Uh, We are getting some audio lag. Just give us a minute, we'll correct it. Sorry for the issue, we are just correcting in a minute.
Fossil fuels, hydrocarbons. And then what are the sectors which are contributing to the CO2 emissions? Transportation 1.5 degrees Celsius. And before end of the century, they still want to limit up to 2 degrees Celsius. So when we talk about global warming, we are talking about the greenhouse gas emissions. And this greenhouse gas emissions basically come from CO2, methane, etc. But CO2 contributes almost 76% of the total GHG emissions. Out of that, the majority CO2 comes from fossil fuels, hydrocarbons. And then what are the sectors which are contributing to the CO2 emissions? Transportation and industry. So obviously we all should realize that if we don't really get to transportation, minimize usage of hydrocarbons, we will otherwise contribute to the GHG emissions, and ultimately it will lead to the global warming. So it is important that we should minimize coal, crude, gas, which are hydrocarbons, to the renewable energy sources like wind and solar. And I think a lot of investments are happening towards that. India certainly is now investing a lot into solar and wind. We will come to that little later. But when it comes to the India's commitment, why we are showing so much commitment now? Because we are third largest producer of CO2 emissions, which is obviously not good for our planet, for our next generations. If we look at globalization and demotorization, what we have seen is that India today has 70. When I say 70 motorization, that means 70 out of 1,000 people own the vehicles in India. What is US motorization? There are more than 800 people who own the vehicles among 1,000 people. China, it is 200 plus. So India has still long way to go, and with rising middle class population and income, we are just going to see increase in the vehicles, which would mean that we are going to emit CO2. We are going to pollute the air, which obviously we can't afford, and there is cost to it. And what is the cost of that, of poor air quality, is when we look at in terms of economics, then the economic loss for India is close to 37 billion. India as a country, we need to do something to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. And transportation, obviously you can't stop. You can't say that we are going to limit number of cars coming on the road, but we need to find out the way more on the cleaner side, how we can really help environment to become clean. Another reason for India to reduce fossil fuels is our over dependence on the oil and gas. India had spent almost $100 billion last year on importing the crude oil. And we import around 84% of total crude oil requirement of India. When there is 84%, we obviously can't afford. 100 billion is a big number. That means again, we need to find out the solution to it. We may not be able to completely replace the 84% of imports, but whichever way we can reduce the dependence of fossil fuels. There is obviously one way of doing that is to moving into cleaner fuels, completely renewables like solar and wind. And another way is obviously the electric vehicles. So now we are getting into a very, very interesting part. To start with, we will look at how globally EV industry is doing, and then we will come to India. So when we talk about global EV penetration today, there are around 10 million cars which are running on the world roads. If we talk about the countries or regions, today China and now Europe have taken very dominant position. So they are very, very strong markets for electric vehicles. Not to suggest that USA is far behind. They are also going to close in very quickly, with companies like Tesla and General Motors investing a lot into electric vehicles and the infrastructure around electric vehicles. So these three regions are definitely showing big promise in electric vehicles. And if we really talk about the last 5 years, when 2015 electric vehicles, we were just looking at less than 1% of the market share. It was probably around 0.5, 0.6% of the total production of the vehicles in that year. And now when we look at 2020, we are already looking at 4.6%, and in 2021, it is expected that electric vehicles are going to have a share of 5%, which means that in the last 5 to 6 years, electric vehicle sales have gone up 10 times. So this year, or when I say this year, it's 2020, basically there has been a huge drop in overall sales of vehicles. They dropped by 16%. But when we look at electric vehicle, story is completely different. Actually, electric vehicle sales have gone up by a whopping 41%. Because initially 0.5% going to 1%, 2%, we always will see a lot of resistance because there is not enough infrastructure which is built for electric vehicles. But when it goes to 5% and when you see 10 times increase in the vehicle sales, it is going to attract a lot of companies into it. In fact, when we look at the global companies like Volvo, they have already announced that by 2030, they will make only electric vehicles. Volkswagen is talking about 70%, and so are other American and European companies, car companies, are talking more about electric vehicles. There is also EV30 at 30, which means that many countries are signing to the policy of EV30 at 30. That means by 2030, 30% of the total vehicles will be electric vehicles. So India is also signatory to it, and so are many other countries. So when we look at even country-wise data, what we have seen is that, no surprise of course, that majority of countries in the Europe are definitely showing a huge growth numbers. Countries like Finland, Sweden have shown remarkable increase in electric vehicles. They have of course developed infrastructure to suit that demand. Compared to that, when we look at the China numbers, they are around 2.3%. And US is slightly more than China. It is around 6%. Incidentally, India is not appearing here in the list as of now because India's penetration is much, much lower than 1%. But there are going to be obviously a lot of favorable factors which are going to help India to have the huge growth in electric vehicles. So what are the favorable factors? Means world obviously when they would have started 10 years back the journey on electric vehicles, they would have faced a lot of challenges, that there is no demand, then how they are going to create supply infrastructure. But they believed in EV story. They knew that one day it is going to take off. And now if we see the 5% market share is a huge increase, and it goes to promise to the world that EVs are going to grow now exponentially, because 1 to 5% will always take some time, but it has taken just 5-6 years. So obviously now over next 10 years, 15 years, EV 30 at 30, as I was talking about, is going to be a reality. There are favorable factors, of course, that the advances in battery technology are happening. And we will talk and learn a lot from Suhas that how battery technology is evolving. The mass manufacturing has started, means with China and Europe, they are already investing a lot into mass manufacturing of cars, the batteries. And just to give example, in Europe, country like Poland is producing a lot of batteries now. China, of course, is the leading manufacturer of lithium-ion batteries. It is pertinent to mention here that governments are very, very supportive. So China, Europe or US, their governments have given huge subsidy to encourage people to buy. And now they are slowly reducing that subsidy. We in India are also seeing a lot of support coming from the government of India. We also know that EVs are far efficient than the IC engines. So obviously with they getting better and better efficient, we all clearly know that people will start preferring EV vehicles because their overall cost of ownership will come down. And again, we will see some interesting case study when we talk to Suhas about two-wheelers or four-wheelers, that how EVs are going to be compared to IC engines. So when we talk about driving range, 6 years back, it was around 200 kilometers. Now with technology advancement, driving range has almost crossed 350 kilometers. I'm talking about world. And definitely apart from that, what we have seen here now is that the companies who are doing the short range deliveries, they no longer want to use the IC engines. Because in a way, citizens are not very happy if they are polluting the air there. So that pressure also is intensifying, and they are indirectly saying to companies that please switch over to electric vehicles from IC engines. So we are going to definitely see much increase in the short-term deliveries to be done by electric vehicles. When we look at long-range deliveries, say like trucks, which will be traveling in thousands of miles, 10,000 of miles, we are going to take some time, and we will talk about that also little later. But these are some of the favorable factors like driving range increase, reduction in battery cost, then companies going with more and more electric vehicles, particularly for the short range deliveries, which will mean that demand is going to be boosted, which is a good sign because then it will result into further lowering of the cost for the people. What about India? Means India is definitely going to follow the steps from the world. Good thing is for India, or for that matter, I would say even the Middle East, Africa, countries like Thailand, Indonesia, good part is that they don't have to reinvent the wheel. So clearly, these countries are going to learn from the, I wouldn't say mistakes, but from the costly, investments which happened in the Western world and China. We are going to get best out of it because 5 years back or 10 years back, the battery cost was 1,000 per kilowatt. Now it is almost coming down to 137. Believe me that battery cost is the biggest contributor to the cost of vehicle, and we will learn more from Suhas when we will talk about that cost. Luckily for India, there is a huge market of vehicles. Means in India, we have close to 20 million two-wheelers getting produced in a year. 20 million is 2 crores, which is a huge number. So even if we get 10% of that moving to electric vehicles in a year, that is going to be 20 lakhs, which is going to clearly change the scenario. A driving range for Indian cars are also on the rise. And as I said that the technology somewhere else can be transferred here, and there could be a lot of collaborations which could happen. Lot of acquisitions are happening more on the charging side. So we know that there are a lot of investments which are happening by companies, oil companies like Hindustan Petroleum or Indian Oil and even Gulf Oil. They have started investing into the charging infrastructure. So, as we see in India, you first build the building of say 30 floors, and by when you actually build elevators, people will come and start using elevators. When people come and start staying in the 30 story, then automatically the ecosystem will get developed. A lot of malls will come, schools will come, hospitals will come. Similarly for the EV, in India it is going to happen. The moment people see that the demand is there are less barriers to change, then more and more people are going to adopt. There are going to be support infrastructure which is going to happen. So today there could be some lack of infrastructure, the charging infrastructure. But now companies like Ola Electric, they have already announced that they are going to create a huge network of chargers. They talk about supercharging network. They are going to invest into 100,000 charging points in 100 countries. And to start with, this year, they have plans around 5,000 charging stations, which itself is double than what we have today in India. So just imagine that, companies are already announcing the investment. We also are going to see drop in the price of electric vehicles. And when we look at total cost of ownership, we will see that overall owning electric vehicle will save a lot for people who will drive certain thousand kilometers over the life cycle of the cars. Driving range is definitely improving. We are going to see a lot of fast chargers and also the slow chargers. So when the fast chargers, Ola is already talking about for their two-wheelers, the fast charging of 80% into 18 minutes. And that's going to change the complete dynamics of the industry. Hero is investing a lot. The players like Ather is already there. TVS is investing into two-wheelers. So in our view, two-wheelers will be faster to migrate from IC engines to electric vehicles. And why we say so? Because the charging is not so difficult. You can simply charge at home. In our view, in our assessment, what Suhas and I have been working with the industry, we have seen that two-wheelers and three-wheelers are going to take off electric vehicle journey very quickly, followed by four-wheelers, and then it will take a couple of years, of course, for the heavy-duty vehicles. So Amazon is already investing a lot into electric vehicles for their short-term deliveries. And we are going to see a lot of companies, actually, logistics companies getting into electric vehicles. And there is going to be obviously the supportive infrastructure, be it terms of charging, be it terms of driving range. Lot of work is going to happen in the battery technology as well. So we will see a lot of R&D going to happen by Indian companies or by global companies coming to engineers in India. So we will see a lot of action on the R&D front as well. And again, when Suhas talks about the opportunities for engineers, for the entrepreneurs, for the corporates, there are n number of opportunities, and that was whole purpose of doing this part 2. So I'm sure that you have found value in this part as well, and we of course are getting into our next important part, where I'm going to have the conversation with Suhas.
Thank you, sir, for wonderful insights and the need for electric vehicles. I would now like to introduce our next speaker and an expert in electric vehicles, Suhas Joshi. Suhas Joshi has more than 34 years of experience in the industry with companies like Emerson's, Delta Electronics, and Exicom. He is one of the few individuals having 6+ years experience in the electric vehicles industry. He has deployed lithium-ion battery manufacturing, BMS, charging infrastructure, and many more. I now invite Suhas Joshi to join Shailendra for an interactive talk on electric vehicles.
Thanks, Kasturi, for the introduction. And here we are. We are going to have very interesting conversation with EV expert, Mr. Suhas Joshi. And soon you will realize that why we all call Suhas Master Blaster of electric vehicles. He is very passionate and he comes with huge experience. So my request to all of you is to be attentive over next 25-30 minutes. And I'm sure that there is going to be some eureka moment for you where you will think that, yes, this is where, I wanted to do something. I wanted to get into that career, or I want to start business in particular area of electric vehicles, or I want to do invest, all those things. I'm sure that you are going to get some eureka moment. It could come in the beginning or midway or at the end. So my request to all of you is to be attentive. And without much ado, I would like to start this conversation with Suhas. So, hi Suhas, good evening.
Good evening, good evening.
Yeah. So Suhas, while we are talking about global warming, we are talking about government's policies which are favoring electric vehicles. But why do customers go and buy electric vehicles? Is there any incentive for them?
Yeah, see, any disruption globally or locally in India, whenever you are seeing, without having a real benefit to the end consumer, nothing is going to happen. And in India is a very price sensitive country. So always the benefit, if people they see, then only they will go for the change, which is proven traditionally. I still remember the good old telecom days where the per call basis cost was practically 16 rupees. And now where it has reached, we are now the globally the cheapest data provider. So similar situation is coming in electric vehicles also. Like when I see the data on the SIAM website or any other government website, every year practically traditionally 3 crore vehicles are getting sold. So out of that 3 crore vehicle, 2 crore vehicles are two-wheelers which are getting sold. And two-wheeler usage class is typically a middle class class who is very sensitive to the price, who don't want to spend much more money. And when you see 2 crores of vehicle, out of that, even 5% vehicles, if they are getting converted into electric, that we call it as a 5% EV penetration rate. Means out of 2 crore, 5% means 10 lakh vehicles will get converted. So that 10 lakh vehicles, why people will use? Now, this is the best question which you will ask me, and that's what I want to understand and give a very simple answer. In the electric vehicle, there are only two factors which are very, very important. One is the energy efficiency. The traditional IC engine vehicle, where the efficiency is just 20 to 25%, not more than that. And in electric vehicle, efficiency is practically 90% plus. That is the first advantage of the electric vehicle, because you are not using any industrial combustion engine. You are using the electric motor. Second, very important point is that in electric vehicle, there are practically 5% moving parts vis-a-vis your traditional traditional IC engine vehicle. So as the number of parts are very less, the failures are very less and efficiency is very, very high. So now is the most important this thing that I am telling you, these two features. How these two features are going to get benefited to the end customer, because the end customer is going to say that okay, these are the features, but what benefit which I am going to get, whether it is going to get impacted my pocket in a practically beneficial way or not. So when I see the electric vehicle, I will give you a very simple example for two-wheeler, as well as I will give you the example of four-wheeler, because I feel two-wheelers are more in the market and two-wheeler penetration will start very rapidly because the gains are very, very high. If I compare apple to apple, electric two-wheeler and traditional two-wheeler, cost of both, buying the cost is same, roughly about 75,000 rupees. There is the same. Today, everyone is hearing in the newspaper that the petrol price has become 100 rupees. So for traditional two-wheeler, for any good make, it gives you about 35 kilometer per liter. That is the mileage. Means roughly you can assume about 3 rupees per kilometer. So per kilometer cost is about 3 rupees. And if I consider say 1 lakh kilometer for a driving, if on an average in say 2 to 3 years if you drive, or say 4 years you drive 1 lakh kilometer, then you are going to spend minimum 3 lakh rupees. Now, if I compare these 3 lakh rupees with electric two-wheeler, what I need, the buying cost is same, 75,000 rupees. But when I charge single time electric two-wheeler, it cost me just 18 paise per kilometer. Just 18 paise per kilometer. Means for 1 lakh kilometer, I am going to spend only 18,000 rupees. Now you will come and say, no, I have the battery, what is the life, what is the thing. So I consider one more change of battery. Actually, the battery, you are going to get 3 years without any problem. That's the warranty which the government gives and the manufacturer gives. But still I consider 25,000 rupees extra. So still your cost is just 45,000, 45 paise per kilometer. So 3 rupees vis-a-vis 45 paise. So you have to choose. And when you see this kind of a difference, actually any common man, if I see, is going to jump on it. Another advantage, I need not have to go to any petrol pump. I can charge it at home also. The battery, I can take it at home. I can simply bring it like and charge it like your mobile charge. So it is as simple as that. So that is going to become very simple for the common man. And one more advantage, the drive. You will not believe, as these vehicles are coming with the electric motor, there is absolutely no noise. People, they talk about the only the pollution, but noise pollution is also going to get reduced. Sometimes I have seen it's challenging that electric two-wheeler pass through you and you will not come to know that vehicle has passed. So that is maybe a challenge also. And few of the people, they have come up with that, saying that we will do some artificial intelligence noise so that you will get a feel of drive. So that is also happening in the industry today in India. So that is what I'm trying to say. The drive is very, very comfortable. And the features what you get, like in the electric two-wheeler, the number of features which are getting added, like your traditional two-wheeler, you cannot get the GPS, you have to put separate dedicated phone or something, there is no space. Here you can, even many of the manufacturers are giving the GPS screen directly on your footboard. There is a screen which is available on which you can get the driving directions. That is possible. Your mobile can get charged directly when you are actually running the vehicle. So many applications which are there in this electric two-wheeler, which are going to help you in running very smoothly, as well as you can save money also. So when you are saving money, you are comfortable. I don't think why people will not go for buying the electric vehicles. That is my clear-cut understanding, especially for two-wheeler. Now coming to the four-wheeler. Four-wheeler is little different kind of a application. So in four-wheeler, typically people who will go for four-wheelers. Now already there are few makes are already launched, and many more makes are coming in the market. Already Indian companies like Tata's, Mahindras, they are launching number of models. Now the companies like Suzuki, Toyota, then MG Hector, they also launched. Honda has launched. Hyundai has launched. So they are launching the vehicles one after one, and then the vehicles will become really more popular. And when I see the competency of efficiency competency of the electric four-wheeler is little expensive than your traditional four-wheeler. So you may have to spend 2-3 lakh rupees extra. So if I consider roughly about 6.5 lakh rupees or 7 lakh rupees for your traditional four-wheeler, you end up spending about 10.5 lakh rupees. But per kilometer running cost, and the batteries are quite wide. So per running kilometer cost is for traditional two four-wheeler is 7.5 rupees, whereas in this you will get about 1 to 1.25 rupees. So 1 rupee per kilometer means you are saving practically 6 to 7 rupees per kilometer, plus no vibration, very smooth ride. You are not compromising anything. Your screens are wide screen, air conditioning is working as good as that, and very comfortable drive. When I drove first time in my life, I really felt that this is the vehicle which I can't leave. And that is the my passion which has started. And when you see the new vehicles which are coming like Teslas in India, actually people will not leave those vehicles. Those are very good vehicles, and they give you really a smooth ride. Another advantage, that traditional two-wheeler generally you will not find the automatic transmission. But in all these new electric four-wheelers, they are coming with the automatic transmission. So driving is also becoming very easy for you to get into it.
Quite interesting, Suhas, and clearly gives a feel that both two-wheeler owners and four-wheeler owners are going to get substantial reduction in the running cost. So really good to know that. So now we are coming into little technical side of it, Suhas, and would like to certainly understand. You are talking about powertrain, you are talking about battery, you are also talking about charging systems. Can you just throw some light on technical, because some of our friends here who are from engineering background, I think it would be important for them to know. And another point why I'm asking this question is that the engineering companies, or for that matter, any investors who are going into EV, they need to understand that technically also it is far advanced.
Yeah. This is very important point, because when you see the battery and the powertrain, what is powertrain? Traditionally, in your IC engine, the industrial combustion engine used to run by a fuel, either it is a CNG or diesel or petrol. Here, that kind of fuel is not required. Here, it is a standard BLDC motor or the induction motor or PMDC motor. So this is used, and there are sizing criteria and all those things which is a detail engineering which we do it in our detail programs. So there we teach you all how it has to be decided. And then it comes the battery controller, and motor, and the charger. These are the four parts which are very vital in any electric vehicle. And these parts are practically 50 to 60% cost of the total vehicle. And they actually decide the fate of this whole vehicle. So if this is rugged, you need not have to really worry. So balance things, the car makers and the vehicle makers are really having a very good expertise, and this expertise are now they have developed. So absolutely not an issue. But as a study person, or when you want to get into the industry, you need to understand the nitty gritties of this. Otherwise, it will be a very difficult task for you to understand why the cost of the vehicle is high, where you are doing the compromises, what are the approvals which are required. Because people they talk about battery. So battery is a very subjective topic. Which type of battery? They say lithium ion. In lithium ion batteries, there are multiple chemistries. So which chemistry to be chosen? For two-wheeler, what is the chemistry? For three-wheeler, what is the type of a chemistry? What is the four-wheeler? What is the type of a chemistry of the cell? Only in lithium which you have to choose. That is very, very important. Again, that's the temperature. In India, you will find now it's a summer. It's 45-degree plus in northern India as ambient. If you go to the deep south, it is maybe 20-25. Somewhere suddenly the cyclone comes. It's is a rainy time. So those kind of a tropical kind of a climate, these batteries should work without any hassle. So there are lot of criteria which one has to really understand. So these battery systems, how you have to pack, how you have to do the thermal management, because the temperature at which, because this is the end of the day, the battery is a chemical reaction which has to take place. So for having a chemical reaction, temperature is very, very important. So those temperatures, at what temperature it has to be charged, what temperature it has to be discharged, what is the life it is going to give. So these are all very, very vital criteria. So when we get into the detailing, we actually talk about all these things, and there you will get an idea what vehicle which I'm going to manufacture or I'm going to use. Even for usage of the vehicle, you should know what is my future on that vehicle. Because vehicle investment, you don't do it for overnight. You do it for longer time. At least in India, no one replaces, very few people replace the vehicle every 5 years. But generally, on an average, 10 years is the vehicle life. And in these vehicles, electric vehicles, there is no need to change very rapidly also. So all these parameters are very, very important. Now, apart from that, we also talk about the batteries. Then we talk about other technologies like solid state batteries. We talk about fuel cells. Fuel cell, what are the fuel cells, which are how these are important. Then we talk about the battery management systems, because battery management system is a very important criteria. So for if at all anything is, we are assumed everything is going well, but certain is going to go as per Murphy's law, something is going to go bad. So when it goes bad, how you are going to get protected? You cannot put the human life at stake. So all those criteria are taken care in the battery management system. And traditionally, if you see the IC engine vehicle, people they used to think that automotive engineer and mechanical engineers can do everything. But now, lot of role which has come for the electronics engineer and software engineer. The AI and machine learning is inevitable part of this industry, and this is going to become a really a very big change in the industry. Even as you were talking about what is the maintenance required and all, now I kept that question reserved for this session. When you are talking about the maintenance, actually the maintenance criteria is also going to change. You are not going to require to go to the maintenance shop always. You need not have to go to the garage. I can take the remote control of your vehicle sitting in my office or my garage, and I can help you in solving all your software related or any firmware related issues, which are 60 to 70% issues will be with that. Only the mechanical issues you need to go at site and solve. So those kind of changes which are going to happen, and that is the reason world is talking about driverless cars.
Okay, interesting. So, typically, what is the percentage of components one will find in electric vehicles compared to IC engines? Since you are saying less of maintenance, so is it too less percentage?
It is a 5 to 10%, hardly 5 to 10%.
That's all.
That's all.
Which could mean that even the number of accidents also will come down if they are happening mainly because of certain problems with certain components, that something has failed, and suddenly it results into accident. So I'm sure it is safer vehicle as well.
Is much more safer. In fact, it is going to give you a lot of technological advanced support. So earlier, that kind of a support was not possible. But with AI and machine learning, your past track records and all those things is going to help you a lot. So that is a very big advantage which I always see in this industry.
So that's very interesting. Is you just talked about that battery and the motors. These are very costly. But over last couple of years, since you have so much experience, you have worked on various EV battery projects. Is price really coming down over last say 5 to 7 years? And do you think it will further come down, because ultimately it will result into cost of vehicle?
Yeah. Obviously, the price of the batteries is coming down substantially. I am working in this industry for last no more than 8 years, and you will not believe 8 years back the battery which I used to purchase at about $900 per kilowatt hour, which has now come down in last 7 8 years to practically 130 $140. So prices are coming down. That is the first thing which I am seeing. Second, the electronics and the machine learning abilities have gone up. So that is again making a vehicle more effective also. And the third and most important part is the battery management system. Algorithms are becoming very rugged. So that can take us through a very safe kind of a drive and the battery pack. So those technologies are improving a lot in last few years.
Okay, interesting, interesting. And I can see some questions already coming into, and there you just mentioned about fuel cell. So one question is that, are you talking about hydrogen fuel cell?
Yeah, hydrogen fuel cell is again a very good technology, which will is bound to become popular in the coming days. But the only challenge with the hydrogen fuel cell is that the weight of the hydrogen. As the weight of the hydrogen, you have seen it's a very low weight. So transportation cost is becoming very high. So the distribution cost goes high, then it is not becoming economical. That is the only main reason why hydrogen is not becoming really popular in our country as of now, at least. And second is the safety aspect, because hydrogen again it's a safety aspect also which one has to take care. But I think in the coming days with the change in technology, these all parameters which are going to come up very well in the market, and those options will be available for us and as in terms of choices. So EV manufacturers, they will give us those choices.
Good, Suhas. So now would like to move towards charging. Uh, so fast chargers, slow chargers, we keep on hearing that. And you also just mentioned in the beginning about some standardization. So can you just tell us something about chargers and what is the charging system?
Yeah. See, there are multiple type of charging which happens. Like I told you, for two-wheeler, you can take the battery at home and you can charge it at home. So once you charge, you travel, let's say, about 70 kilometers, and you are traveled. But suppose if someday you went for drive and you travel more than 70 kilometers, and you want to charge the vehicle in between, where you will charge. So there are public charging systems which are getting available in the market. Government is putting a lot of public charging stations. Government is making it mandatory that all the commercial complexes, your malls, your roads, petrol pumps, you will find the charging stations are going to become available. So these are all AC charging stations which are going to make available there also. And for the four-wheelers typically, where you want to charge the battery rapidly, because say you are traveling say from Delhi to Chandigarh, or you are traveling say from Mumbai to Pune. and distance is more than 200, 300 kilometers. So you cannot wait for AC charging station. It takes about 6 to 7 hours of charging. So you want to charge your vehicle faster. So there you can charge the vehicle faster in 1 hour's time and you can go. So those charging systems are already available, and there are standards for that. There are connectors. Different manufacturers use the different connectors. There are three standard connectors. Just not with confusing much, I'm trying to tell you three types of connectors. One is a European and American connector, which we called as a CCS connector. Second is CHAdeMO connector, which is coming from the Japanese countries, the Japanese car manufacturers. And third one is GBBT, which is coming typically from the Chinese manufacturers. So currently the older vehicles, which are Mahindra and Tata's, they are older vehicles, that Verito and all, they are coming with Bharat EV charging, which is based on the GBBT. But now the pickup which is happening in the CCS area, government is pushing for CCS charging. So traditionally, CCS and CHAdeMO will be the future mainly, which is looking as per the current government directives. So these are the two ways this is going to happen. So you can have the fast charging on the roadside and slow charging at the home side. So both ways it is possible. So you need not have to go to the charging station always. Another aspect which is government is giving a lot, that government is giving you a green meter. If you are having an electric vehicle with you, and for charging the electric vehicle, you can buy the power at subsidized rate. The cost of the power, which is available at practically, including tax, at about 7 rupees per kilowatt hour. So commercial power is much expensive. Your domestic power is also expensive, but this power is available at lower cost. And for putting up the charging stations also, every government, state government as well as the central government is giving a lot of subsidies for next 5 years. So this is a good advantage which government is also giving, that please go ahead and use this vehicle, which is beneficial for country, beneficial for people, and end of the day it is not impacting my pocket.
Interesting. Of course, conscious of the time, but there are two aspects, and where we would like to get your expert views. One is that you are talking about opportunities for engineers or new businesses. But before coming there, that would be, I will keep it at the end. But before that, you just mentioned about government doing a lot of things. They are talking about policies to push EVs. So we keep on hearing about this FAME and then FAME 2. Can you just throw some light on that?
Government has already announced FAME 1. FAME 1 is completed. FAME 2 is under implementation. And now the focus of the government is that make in India. So government is very, very clear that you are not going to get any subsidies unless and until you are not making the indigenization of the vehicle. So the Indian industry is going to get motivated. And that is a good part for the country, that Indian engineers, Indian industry is going to get a lot of motivation, because all these components are going to get developed in the local Indian factories. So government is very strict on the approving criteria. So the two agencies, ICAT and ARAI, which are the two government agencies, they are going as per the guidelines given by the government of India, that these are the component by component timetable is announced, which component has to become indigenized by what time. Then only you will be entitled for the subsidies and the approvals. So this is very clear-cut directive, and that is motivating more to me as an Indian and for my country, that this will help the country in developing the local engineers, local capabilities. And there is no dearth of the talent in India, and the Indian population is quite young, and the learning abilities, the quality of Indian engineers is really, really great. So globally also, if you see, you will find all the big companies, you will find Indian engineers. So Indian engineers will now get much more work in India itself to do, and government wants that. So I think this is a very win-win kind of a proposition which government is also doing for us. So why not to take the advantage of it?
Wow, that's really excellent. And of course, I'm coming to the last point of opportunities for engineers, or for that matter, why just engineers, but also the working professionals and the people who want to start their own. So various startups, and I can see some of the startups joining also today. So where do you think, what are the opportunities for say mechanical or electrical, you keep on talking about, and even electronics and computer science engineers and the people?
See, the industry is going to go a very big dynamic change. And automotive industry actually, I need not to tell, everyone knows that how much pie of our total annual budget which it occupies. So the total GDP growth, out of which how much is coming out of automotive industry. So the industry is quite huge. That is the first of all, first thing. Then second important thing is that there are 25 to 30 types of businesses in this industry itself. It's not one business alone. Because when I'm talking about, let's say for the mechanical industry, see, every industry will have got their own agenda of working and the own competency. Like mechanical engineers, they will like to work on the body of the vehicle. They will like to develop on the welding techniques. They will like to work on the battery part, battery enclosures, battery thermal management systems. So there are many opportunities for them. They are going to work on the charging system, like charging enclosures are also very big, so they are going to have the opportunities in that. Then you come to the electronic part of it, then the battery management system, which is a very huge part out of it. Then the software engineers, they have to work on the algorithms, they have to work on the AI, they want to work on the machine learning. Motor builders, now the new industry which is because till that in automotive industry there was no work for electrical engineers actually. So now the electric motors are coming, motor controllers are coming. So this industry is going to get integrated. And apart from that, the battery swapping, which is another topic. Now, this topic I will not get touch. I will touch upon once I answer this question completely. So, this opportunity is wherein you will have n number of software opportunities, like battery charging station. Battery charging station is an unmanned charging station. So you need to have a data center for that. So you go on the battery charging station and connect the battery. You connect to the vehicle. So once you connect the vehicle, it is unmanned. So automatically on your mobile app, which will get activated, and you pay through your through your wallet. So just imagine mechanical, electronics, then firmware, software, hardware, all type of industries, and again backed up by the remote garage management. So actually, the opportunities are abundant. And when I listed down, there are about 30 to 35 types of businesses. So people can come to us. We can discuss what kind of a businesses they are interested in. We can help them in building up those businesses, and we can help them in developing their businesses for the longer term, which is possible because this industry just started, and early movers advantage which everyone can get. And India, when we are capable to do all these things, we should not lose out this as an opportunity. So learning is very important in this, understanding your interest and capitalizing on that interest.
So interesting. And you talked about battery swapping, and you were also talking about fast chargers, slow chargers. I think the typical charging time is, you were talking about how many, 6 to 8 hours currently?
Typical charging hours for fast charger, it starts from 30 minutes. For slow charger, it is about 6 to 8 hours.
So there is going to be a lot of work or development going to happen on that,
Yes, yes,
on
yes,
reducing
yes,
charging time.
yes.
Listening to all this, Suhas, I have no doubt that India has a huge potential to become the global hub for the R&D for electric vehicles, because so much of talent is here, and I'm sure that India is going to help other countries also to build that knowledge base. So it's heartening to know, and as you know that there are people joining from other countries as well, and particularly Middle East, Africa, or Southeast Asia, where the EV penetration is not much compared to China and Europe and America today. So clearly, I can think that this kind of session will be very valuable for them. Means, they must have got a lot of takeaways, I'm sure, from this session itself. So would like to thank you for your time, and I know that this is not never going to be sufficient when we talk to you. Probably number of days are going to be required, but thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Over to Kasturi.
Thank you, sirs, for this wonderful session on electric vehicles. Before we go to the live question and answer session, I call upon Shailendra to make an interesting announcement for an upcoming electric vehicles workshop.
So I'm sure you would have found our conversation very valuable, and it is going to help you in your career, whatever you decide, whether you change the job and move into EV world, or if you are aspiring to make a career in EV, if you are going to invest as an entrepreneur, or even if you want to start a startup. I think EV is obviously going to throw a lot of opportunities, and as Suhas just talked about. But, are we going to just stop our learning by attending this webinar? Definitely 45 minutes is not good enough, isn't it? I think you need definitely a deep dive to really get more insights before you decide what you want to do in your career, in your life, particularly when EV is going to grow exponentially. So we at Rosefield Energy Tech decided to come out with a 2-week training workshop. Just imagine that 45 minutes has given you so much of insights, then 2 weeks spending on electric vehicles, learning more about battery management systems, motors, a lot of things about chargers, superchargers, lot of technical stuff. You are going to gain huge insights. So when I talk about this 2 weeks workshop, which is going to happen end of June, and I will give you some more details, but what this workshop, how it is going to help you. So if you are professionals, or even if you are engineering students or students for that matter, it is going to enhance your knowledge in the electric vehicles. We want you to become employable so that what industry wants, definitely you will attain certain knowledge. You will have definitely some additional qualification. So the knowledge which you could get on EV is probably through, say, social media like YouTube. This is going to give you far more knowledge, which is not easily accessible. So recognizing the importance of the training workshop for the students or working professionals like you, we are very fortunate to get support from Skill India and HPCL. I must say here is that HPCL has always been supporting the endeavor where we want to create a knowledge community. So we are really thankful to both Skill India and HPCL. Apart from that, this workshop is going to be sponsored by Baman Lorry and Standard Greases. So we have got already 2 sponsors, and I'm sure that their support is going to help us to get best quality education for you, those who are going to attend. Who is going to be the speaker? No surprise, because what you have seen in last 20-25 minutes coming from Suhas is highly passionate about electric vehicles. So let me run what we are going to cover in the 2 weeks workshop. So you will gain a lot into market of electric vehicles, which are global and Indian markets. What are the government policies? Then types of electric vehicles, whether they are pure electric or hybrid or PHEV vehicles. Then what are the key components of electric vehicles? So for example, motor and motor controller. Then you will learn about battery and battery management system. So battery chemistries, battery cells and packs, battery connectors and battery swapping. Then you will also learn about active, passive and protection, BMS. Apart from that, what are the other applications of lithium battery? So like solar energy storage, fuel cells, supercapacitors. You will also learn about battery charging system. They are DC converters, charging connectors, central monitoring system. Then it is also important for you to understand the specifications of electric vehicles. And last but not the least, the approvals what are required for the electric vehicles. They are coming from ARAI or ICAT, what are the requirements? And then vehicle homologation. I think these are going to be very, very important topics to be covered. Now, this workshop, I would say that there are a lot of key takeaways and benefits. So it is certainly going to help professionals, you as individuals, corporates, because many corporates, as we talk with those companies, they want to get into electric vehicles. And obviously, as you would have seen now, there is huge potential electric vehicles offers. So if you are a company who wants to diversify into electric vehicles, definitely they need certain knowledge. And then apart from that, there are engineering students who want to make a career now. So whether you are mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, electronics engineers, or even IT engineers, EV is going to provide huge opportunities for you, as you would have learnt in this session. Entrepreneurs, and this is a complete disruptive. So no need to think that I had to be from automobile industry to start EV. Means Elon Musk is a classic example. He never had a background of automotive or automobile industry, but he completely changed the game. So you with dream can really become entrepreneurs, and for you to realize your dream, the certain knowledge on electric vehicles is required. If you are investors, obviously you need to understand before deciding on the investment part of it. And then I would say that why just these professionals or students or investors, anybody who is interested in EV, this is the best opportunity for you to learn in this 2 weeks training workshop. We also want, as a part of Rosefield trainings endeavor, that we want to really help you to become employable and gain definitely advanced knowledge about EVs. We also can enable the enthusiast and the EV ventures into gaining some knowledge. Rosefield Energy Tech has a very, very best-in-class digital infrastructure. So we are going to definitely build our training programs, training workshops. Even we are going to come with a lot of events going forward through our network, through our digital infrastructure. And then most importantly, that we are going to give you e-certificate for those who will be attending this 2 weeks training workshop. So these are all benefits, and why to wait, anymore? Means obviously, let me just share with you the format of the workshop. It's the mode which we are going to do it through virtual and live event. So online event will be there. There is going to be free access to recorded session. So by any chance, if you are going to miss any particular session, you need not be thinking that, oh, you have lost something. You can get access to the recorded version of that and make up for the loss which you would have seen mainly because of your work or maybe for any personal reasons. The duration which we talked about is 2 weeks, and we are going to run it on 4 weeks, 4 days a week. So, from Tuesday to Friday. So idea here is that you need not spend weekend on the workshop. And also Monday, if you are working professional, your first day of the week, we do not want you to start with the training workshop. And also understanding that you have busy schedules during a day, what we are going to do is that we are going to run this workshop and sessions in the evening. So it is going to be 6 to 7:30 p.m. India time, which will again allow you to be ready for the sessions, and it's going to be 90-minute sessions, including questions and answers every day. And then what is going to be content? It is going to be tailor-made and unique content. And as I said before, your YouTube may not give you that much insight which we are going to share, and that is the whole idea of getting professional who had spent 6 years in battery management and EVs talking to you and sharing expertise and experience, apart from huge experience in already energy storage and so on. And then we will be running a lot of quizzes and videos integrated for an interactive experience during this. So I'm sure you are going to enjoy, but that is not all. Means obviously, the value of workshop itself is a big. You are going to spend good 2 weeks time there. We are going to run sessions where you will know about technical and business modeling, how that is going to help in EV. We are going to share lots of case studies. So again, it is going to help you. It is all, by experience and by expertise of the various global and local companies. You are going to get technical insights, not easily available, as I mentioned. And in addition to this, you are going to get annual subscription completely free for any events or any workshops like this we are going to conduct in future. So what are those annual subscription benefits? If you are professionals or the students, you are going to gain access to certain training modules which Roseville B2B is going to run, not just on electric vehicles, but also on energy. You will get the free access to training workshop. Otherwise, this training workshop, what we are talking about is a paid. We are going to run a lot of conclaves going forward. We are going to run events going forward. We are also going to have fairs for the internships and also for the jobs, because at the end of the day, we want to bring both academia and industry together. So whether you are working professionals, whether you are working for your companies, we would like those companies also to come forward and help us to bridge the gap, not just in knowledge, but also help the next generation to get jobs through our job fairs or the internship fair. So looking at all these benefits, we could have valued this training workshop at easily 24,000, 25,000 rupees. But we are not going to do that. What we have decided is to bring to you at a very, very attractive price of just 9,990 rupees if you are a working professional in India. If you are working professional outside India, then you have to pay 140 USD. So this is for working professional. For students, we are even bringing prices far down to 999 rupees. Yes, you heard it right. So if you are again student in India, you have to pay just 999. If you are a student outside India, you have to pay just $15 for 2 weeks training workshop. So my request to you is that please go to the chat box on your YouTube and access the link and just register for this, because prices may go up after a couple of days. So I'm sure you are going to access the link now and register as early as possible. Thanks a lot.
Wow, this looks like an interesting workshop. Please register for the workshop to avail the early bird discount. We have posted the link in the chat box. You can visit the link from there. Also, stay connected on the WhatsApp groups. We have some surprises your way. Please subscribe, like, and follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube for more such amazing notifications. We have a lot of questions coming in for the Q&A. I now invite our COO, Bhaskaran Nagarajan, for moderating the question and answer session. You can all post your questions in the live chat box below the video.
Thank you, Kasturi. Thank you, Shailendra and Joshi sir. It is excellent session, and I think it was mesmerizing of information flowing through like water. So it's very easy to absorb the language used, these examples provided, the content itself, and of course coming with the new idea of conducting a workshop. Uh, I have large number of questions listed here. What I try to do is try to summarize this question into a group and then ask this question to Suhas ji and as well as Shailendra ji. The questions are related to battery. Some questions are related to environment. Some questions are related to the motors and systems. Some questions are related to the business, how to get into this business. So based on the questions available, I'm trying to go through the questions large in numbers. So I picked up few of the questions to emit, which are totally different, which are not detailed out in this program. So I just pick up two questions which is related to the motor. This question is to Suhasji. Something related to hub motors. Mostly electric two-wheeler assemblers only use hub motors and not cylindrical motors, and also depending totally on China. So why it is so?
See, traditionally the vehicles are coming from China, but now there are number of options which are now available in India for the hub motors and different types of motors also. So now the work full-fledged which is going on in India, and you will get Make in India motors.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. This another question is also for you only. This is related to the speed of the vehicle. What is the highest speed of electric vehicle and acceleration in 5 seconds in four-wheeler and two-wheeler?
See, it depends on it's a designer's choice. Currently, mainly in India, the vehicles which are launched, they are now I'm talking about two-wheeler. Two-wheeler acceleration is pretty good. There is no issue, but it's a designer's choice. It has to be designed accordingly. You can get as better acceleration, because if you can see the global companies like Tesla, they are giving really a very good high accelerated vehicles. So acceleration is a design criteria, not at all an limitation or advantage or disadvantage.
So another important question which is related to where do you see this electric vehicle industry 5 years down the line in India specifically?
See, as I explained in the workshop, what I was telling, that it's a really a lucrative proposition. So it is up to us, people of India or the global people, how we want to get into it and adopt the technology. And I don't see any reason why we should not go and adopt it, because it's a very effective, it's supportive, it helps mankind, it helps people in a larger way. So and it saves money from your pocket. So absolutely no reason why it will not grow, and government is very supportive on this.
This is another important question. What about this charging station? Is it a lucrative business? can I get into that business? This is one question
It's a very, very
by many
lucrative
people.
business. It's a very, very lucrative business. And today, only 63,000 petrol pumps are fueling your vehicles on the street. And as you know, the timing for charging is going to be increased. So, charging station itself, it's a huge business line which is coming up, and government is supporting left, right, center by all means for motivating this business.
Where do we get idea to get into this business, and what way you can help us?
See, we are a consulting company. We can always work out. You can come out with your proposition, what you want. It's a vast industry. We can sit down together, work out, and find out and give you the proper deliverable solutions till you make the profit.
The next question related to the environment. One is, what is the disposal policy of the old vehicles India, government of India has decided. Second is, if we are producing lithium-ion battery, safety of the production as well as the disposal and environmental damages related to lithium battery.
This is an industry which is now setting up all the norms. Government has already come up with the draft form of battery recycling policy, because it's not only for electric vehicles, it is for your laptops, mobile, everywhere these batteries are used. So this is a very clean, clear cut policy which government has come up. And see, this once the industry starts, industry will also learn, and government is also putting it from the day one. So I think we are getting into a good way. And as far as safety is concerned, now the battery technology is getting matured enough. Is not that it is a immature industry. So safety aspects, there is a still scope. I'm not saying that it's a fully safe, designs are already ready and all, and nothing is going to happen. So it's a work in progress, which is not at any stage where we can say we can have fear to go for electric vehicles. Is absolutely fear free, we can go.
Another is again related to the infrastructure. When the electric vehicles are, the population increases, whether India is equipped to cater electricity for that?
Yes, absolutely. If you see the India's mission for the renewable energy, all the chargers, what I'm talking about, they are all going to talk to the grid also. And without grid, a powerful grid, it is not possible. And if you see the solar energy or the renewable energy production, which is enhancing in India, and we are ahead of the target in that. So absolutely, government has planned it well. It is not that is a post facto something which is going to happen. So absolutely no worries on that. Government is well equipped and well planned even before the electric vehicles are getting deployed.
See, another interesting question again related to the government policy. I understand EVs are not required to be registered, at least for two-wheelers. Not sure about four. How insurance and other things will work on this?
This is a good question, especially for two-wheeler, where the speed is less than 25 kilometer. The vehicles are not required to be registered. That is what is the government norm, and now government is working on the insurance policy also for that. So that is still in progress, but not yet completed. But for low-speed vehicles, government has given the clearance that no vehicle registration is required, which is very, very clear as of now.
There is some one question related to the battery checking. Is there any software or simulator available to check and model the battery?
Yes, yes. There are multiple softwares which are available. Utility softwares are available with the battery manufacturers, and they are available. You can test the battery, check the battery. You can also see how many life cycles you have used, how many life cycles are remaining. It depends on the design of the battery.
Okay. There are some questions related to the courses. If I wanted to get into the business, what type of courses I should get into, where it's available?
What I recommend for that, our mail ID is written very clearly over here, info at rosefieldb2b.com. They can write a mail to us and we can respond accordingly, so that they can get a better clarity about the courses.
Again, it is related to the vehicle. is off-road vehicle like farming, etc. Is it electric vehicle is capable of handling that much of power and energy?
Yeah, the Indian make tractor is already there on the street now. So one of the company in northern India, they already developed the tractor, and they are doing the farming with the electric tractor. So India, there is no dearth of talent, and we Indian, we should be very proud of it that we are way ahead in this industry than even the global.
Fantastic, Joshi sir. One, this question is again, I think related to battery again. What do you think about nickel metal hydride batteries as an alternative battery instead of lithium ion battery
Yeah,
for
there
commercial
are.
vehicles?
Yeah, see, there are a number of options which are available. As I said during my presentation also, that there are a number of options. So it depends on the application, what you really want, what is the technical commercial feasibility. Because it should not happen that the best technology, but without a poor efficiency or higher cost, it should not become unfit. So always the technology has to be in fit with the technical and commercial sense.
Yeah. You spoke about the chargers. This one question is related to the universal socket charger come with electric vehicle, but the charger AC001 come with industrial type 16 amps ampere socket. How we universal socket standard enhance it?
See, the government, this is a DC001 or the AC001. These are the first standard which government of India came up. And now the vehicles are changing. Now people are, the industry is going towards CCS. So that industry is evolving. So it is too early to say, but government is very clearly keeping the tap on the standards. So we need not to really worry. We have to have that much of faith on the industry and the government, where government is very keen in pushing the electric mobility, so they will support.
A lot of questions on batteries. Definitely, I am choosing which are not detailed out in our presentation. Probably in our workshop, it must be, I am sure. So one question is again related to polymer-based lithium battery be used in electric vehicle. Means whether we can use it. It will cost more than IC engine.
Again, as I said, there are a number of chemistries, technologies which are available. So it depends on the application, whether it is a two-wheeler, it's a for bicycle, it is for the four-wheeler, it is for the truck, tractor. So depending on the suitability, we have to decide. I'm not saying that lithium polymer batteries are good or bad, or they are not useful. So it depends on the application. It has to be decided. And in our detailed workshops, we cover all these topics, which are very, very important. And this is what is the main thing, which what is the selection criteria for motor, what is the selection criteria for battery, what is the life cycle, temperature, charge, discharge. There are a number of factors which we consider, torque. So all those economics, everything which we consider, and then we talk.
When we talked about that transition from IC to electric vehicle, it is going to take longer duration. I'm sure for 2 weeks, maybe as you stated, 2025, but it is going to take beyond that. And while during the transition, is there any way that IC engines vehicles can be converted into EV, or it can be a hybrid vehicle? Is there any project or something is happening behind?
Yeah. See, this is what is an industry which is going to come up. It's a conversion, vehicle conversion or retrofit industry, which is going to come up very, very well. Because see, India has a tendency that no one will like to throw the old vehicles. So it has to, but it has to become a technically and commercially viable. So this is an industry which is going to evolve. And this is going to be a very big industry, like we have seen earlier, CNG kits which have come up. So this is a similar kind of energy conversion kits are going to come up, and that is going to evolve as an industry, not a few vehicles or some vehicles. It will evolve as an industry itself.
There are many questions, I think, it looks from students and from individual people about job and opportunity. Some question, and I request those are interested, please write to info.rosefieldb2b.com. It is available on the screen also on left, on the right side of Joshi sir. You can pick up and send a mail. And I'm continuing with my question. I think I have another few minutes. Kasturi, am I right? I have another 2-3 minutes. So this question is related to uh, it is again related to the battery only. Uh, what is BMS? This is some basic question again cropped up. So we want to hear from you more
Okay.
detail.
See, BMS is a battery management system, which is the heart of the battery. So there are a number of cells what we are assembling and we are delivering the energy. So how this, like our heart, how it operates our whole body or holds the circulation of the blood. So it actually circulates the complete energy within the vehicle. So that is the BMS. That is most important part of the BMS, and it protects you. It helps you in managing the vehicle well.
A question now related to the vehicle itself. Uh, in IC engine, there is lubricant, there is many kind of oils used. So is there anything for, because the number of moving parts you stated is less. So is that anything required like coolant or lubricant for electric vehicle?
No, absolutely no coolant required because there is no engine. But yes, the kind of lubrications which are required for, say, when you are having a tire assembly and brake assembly, there whatever the coolants and other lubrications which are required, oils are required, those are going to remain. That is not going to go away. But balance, otherwise, engine oil and other these things, filters and all, that is going to go away.
Something related to the investment. Again, a question, very interesting question. Which are the Indian listed companies to be studied for consideration of our potential investment?
See, it's a very subjective question. There are many companies which are coming up. So it will be wrong on my part if I tell you that, okay, you study one company or the another company. It's a
I
totally
appreciate.
biased answer which I cannot give.
You talked about EV vehicle and specifically two-wheelers and three-wheeler. And then, of course, when you expect that India is ready to take challenge of commercial vehicles, and what is your expectation on that?
See, I'm seeing very clearly now, especially on the commercial vehicle side, which is actually a very straightforward game. In next couple of years now, if you see the transition of the commercial vehicle is a investment centric. So investment is a one of the criteria wherein people should see. So one is a capex, one is a opex. So once that game, the prices are now with the scale of economy, the prices are going down. So once it is coming to that break even kind of a point, there I can see. So in next 2 to 3 years time, I am seeing that it's going to become a really a good traction which I can see in that industry very well. And even now the buses, the straight electricity buses and all are moving very very well.
Thank you, Suhasji. The questions are many, and we are trying to collate those stuff and share with you also, and then get an update from you to share in a larger public. And request all that participants to ensure to raise your question to info@rosefieldb2b.com. We will receive all your questions and we'll try to answer most of them and try to come with a solution also. Thank you, Suhasji, for this wonderful peer session. And of course, it is opened up and cleared many of our doubts. And I handing over back to Kasturi to
Thank you,
conduct the
Bhaskar.
session further.
Thank you.
Thank you, Suhasji.
Thank you, sir, for the wonderful Q&A session. The workshop link is in the chat box. For those who have not yet registered, please go and register for the workshop soon to avail the discount. Also follow us on the social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube for more exciting announcements. I now take the opportunity to give the vote of thanks. This was indeed an insightful session on electric vehicles. The electric vehicles industry will open up opportunities for careers in various fields for students, professionals, entrepreneurs, investors, and more. We are sure you all would have gained immensely from learning about the EV today. And you'll be learning more through the workshop the 2-week workshop coming up. Thank you to our distinguished speakers, Mr. Shailendra Gokhale and Mr. Suhas Joshi, for taking us into the world of electric vehicles. I'm sure with their energy and passion, you all are excited to learn more about electric vehicles. Do register for the workshop. Also fill the feedback form through the Google form link that we'll be posting soon below the video, and share the topic in EVs that you would like to learn more about. Thank you to our CEO Bhaskaran Nagarajan for moderating the Q&A. We would like to thank our digital media partners, Avisio Media, for all their efforts in marketing the event, and our videography partner, Memoir Imaging Studio. I would also like to thank my team at Rosefield Energy Tech, Anuja, Subhash, Reshma, and Prasad, for all their support in organizing this event. Please register for the workshop now, link given in chat box, and also we have shared the links in WhatsApp groups. Please remain in the WhatsApp groups as we have some interesting updates coming soon. Request all to fill the feedback form through the Google form link given in the comments. Thank you all for joining in today's event in huge numbers and making this webinar a huge success. Thank you once again. Have a nice day.